Hello, my name is Damien, the tall, friendly atheist dad, and host of the Tall, Friendly Atheist Dad podcast. And welcome to part 14 of An Atheist Reads, I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist.
So far from lies and hypocrisy, with thirst to energy, and silence make us brave. Don't ask me the reason why. Just say I only dream in black and white. Future's nothingness, but I can choose another end. Opening my eyes, and you beginning in my life. Without emptiness to feel, I am sure of myself. No mercy until the end.
I can. And good evening. Hello again. Yes, my name is Damien, the host of the Tall, Friendly Atheist Dad podcast. And wherever you're listening, if you're watching this live, well done, good on you. If you're not, then hey, that's cool. There's always a thing called YouTube and the recording and all that kind of stuff. So before I start reading and getting onto the rundown of the day, let me put some music on. So this is from my friends Victim of Illusion. So head on over to victimofillusion.bandcamp.com and check out their latest album. It's a few years old now, but it's still pretty good. So enjoy. So let me just adjust the volume there. Actually, that's cool. And so part 14 of I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist by Geisler and Frank Turek. This is one of the most preeminent Christian apologetics books of the last 20 years. I think the book is about 15 years old now already. And that has, on the back of that, I think Frank Turek launched crossexamine.org, one of the most preeminent Christian apologetics organizations around today. So, now, if you want to leave comments, feel free to leave comments. If you want to jump in on the chat, I'm more than happy to, if you want to read the book with me, by all means, do so. All good there. So I've got an eye on the comments. And if I see your comments and read them in time, then I'll happily read. So what's been news today? I would say my 2 kids got their first COVID jab. So a few tears, but we got there. We got there in the end. So that was all. And now they've got sore arms, and you have to open the door to go, oh my God, Dad, it hurts. Right? Hello. Okay, he's playing deaf. Maybe that's one of the side effects of the vaccine, is that they start ignoring their parents. So anyway, if you are reading along tonight, I'll be starting from page 111 of the book. But if you do, if you want to check out some of the previous episodes, head on to YouTube and check out the playlist. So if you go to YouTube, search for the Tall Friendly Atheist Dad podcast and check out the playlist. I've got playlists for every book I'm slowly and sequentially reading through. And so check out the previous episodes. So I'm just going to read you the music. Okay, I think that's what I didn't want. All right, cool. So that's actually this song is "The Way For." I think that's one of my most favorite songs off the album. So anyway, if you're reading, and what I might do is just add a little bit of a spice to the podcast. Let me just go. Enjoy the music. Sorry, just setting this screen up. Sorry, running a little bit late tonight. That's what you do when you're trying to. So this is a Victim of Illusion on the screen. So yeah, check him out as the. So anyway, so starting from page 111, halfway down. Yeah, so if you are reading the book, or they're reading in the actual book. So 3, 2, 1. The raw impact of their experiences reveals the intuitive nature of the teleological argument. You don't need anyone to tell you that something beautifully designed requires a designer. It's practically self-evident. Nevertheless, let's state the argument formally again, with emphasis on what we've discovered in this chapter. Every design had a designer. 2. As verified by the anthropic principle, we know beyond a reasonable doubt that the universe is designed. 3. Therefore, the universe had a designer. There's no plausible explanation for the anthropic principle other than a cosmic designer. Atheists must take extreme measures to deny the obvious. When they dream up hypothetical theories that are not supported by any evidence, and in fact are actually impossible, they have left the realm of reason and rationality and entered into the realm of blind faith. Physicist Paul Davies writes, "One may find it easier to believe in an infinite array of universes than in an infinite deity, but such a belief must rest on faith rather than observation." Pardon me, sorry. That yummy chicken. Believing without observation is exactly what atheists accuse religious people of doing. But ironically, it's the atheists who are pushing a religion of blind faith. Christians have good reasons based on observation, such as the Big Bang and the anthropic principle, for believing what they believe. Atheists don't. That's why we don't have enough faith to be atheists. The blind faith of the atheists reveals that the rejection of a designer is not a head problem. It's not as if we lack evidence or intellectual justification for a designer. On the contrary, the evidence is impressive. What we have here is a will problem. Some people, despite the evidence, simply don't want to admit there's a designer. In fact, one critic of the anthropic principle admitted to the New York Times that his real objection was totally emotional because it smells of religion and intelligent design. So much for scientific objectivity. In Chapter 6, we'll address more of these motivations for denying the strong evidence for the existence of God. But first, in Chapter 5, we'll explore more persuasive evidence for a designer, the evidence found in life itself. Racking my thoughts as I'm reading that. Because I read the book previously. I had I did actually have a an idea. But yeah, so far, but yeah, so this now, so you don't need anyone to tell you that something beautifully designed requires a designer. Now that relies on a fallacy of, like, just because we think it's beautiful doesn't necessarily mean that there's any intelligence behind it. Like, for example, a sunset is beautiful, but we clearly know that sunsets don't have, they're not caused by intelligent agents. We know exactly what causes sunsets. Some people love watching the snowfall, but again, we don't accuse, we don't attribute snowfalling to an intelligent agent. So beauty and the adjectives like beautiful, are more personal descriptors rather than objective statements of fact. What else is there? It's practically self-evident. So still, that's not an argument. And one could actually make the case for, let's say, demons causing sicknesses. John Snow back in the 1850s, he's called the father of epidemiology because he managed to trace a cholera outbreak. So let's say we're in England before the 1850s, and can we then say cholera was caused by by demons? It's a beautiful explanation. If you must have, we know that sin causes sickness. You're sick, therefore, it must be some sort of supernatural demonic activity. Yeah, and this is, and I really feel that if we were in the 1850s, that would be an argument that Geisler and Turek and other Christian apologists would try to push, because they're relying on the ignorance that and even if things are, how can I say, like, I don't quite buy okay, so let's go down to, there was a line he said here where there's no plausible explanation for the anthropic principle other than a cosmic designer. Well, that's a load of tosh for a start, because how did these people come up with these probabilities that it's gravity is within 1 part in 150, and it has a probability of 1 in 10 to the 4,000 or something like that, and then this sort of thing, and even then, it doesn't mean it was designed. Just because it is a series of a series of things that have come together without us completely understanding how they came together doesn't mean that they came together because of a cosmic designer. Because then, if you want to make the cosmic design argument, you then have to admit that the universe was made for black holes, because there are more black holes in the universe than there are planets with sentient life on them, for a start. And this line here, atheists must take extreme measures to deny the obvious. Well, no, you haven't shown us a designer. That is just a philosophical argument. And it's a philosophical argument that is designed to railroad you into one particular theistic position. Whereas the naturalistic principle, you can be either a theist or an atheist and say that the universe came about by completely natural mechanisms. How you feeling? You feeling right?
Mm.
Is your arm still hurting?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I smell some corn juice.
It's not corn juice, it's Nestle.
Which just tastes like corn juice. So this line, then he's got this line here. Believing without observation is exactly what atheists accuse religious people of doing. Well, have we ever observed a God? Well, no, we haven't. All we've basically done is the theistic argument relies on the argument from incredulity and based on bad numbers at that. So, and let's just see what else he's got here. And this thing, like, he's not actually Oh, so he does actually. Have a reference to it. But I just wish he'd actually named the. He goes. In fact, one critic of the anthropic principle admitted to the New York Times that his real objection was totally emotional because it smells of religion and intelligent design. Actually, while I've got some time, I might actually check that. So I'm going to put some music on, and I'm going to check that quote.
Change, this is the only way. Discovering the other side of you, and then restart your brain. Looking for those little things to live, and the day is coming. Don't lose again. You can't lose again. I only dreaming black and white. Future's nothingness, but I can choose another end. Opening my eyes, and you begin in my life. Without emptiness,
All right. So if you look on the screen, I've actually brought up the article from the a PDF copy of the article from the New York Times, which quotes. Okay, so there's a quote in the last. So in the last paragraph of chapter 4, there's a. So I'll just read that last paragraph again. The blind faith of the atheists reveals that the rejection of a designer is not a head problem. It's not as if we lack evidence or intellectual justification for a designer. On the contrary, the evidence is impressive. What we have here is a will problem. Some people, despite the evidence, simply don't want to admit there's a designer. In fact, one critic of the anthropic principle admitted to the New York Times that his real objection was totally emotional because it smells of religion and intelligent design. So much for scientific objectivity. And so that is actually referenced, one of the few things in this book that is referenced. And it links to an article. So the reference is an article by Dennis Overby, Zillions of Universes, or Did Ours Get Lucky? From the New York Times, October 28th, 2003. So I've actually got a PDF of that on the screen. So if you are reading, let me just chuck a bookmark in there. Okay, so where does he get the line totally emotional from? And I'm just going to zoom in just to make it a bit more readable on the screen. Okay, so he quotes Dr. Peacock and then Dr. Gross. So who are these people? Let me just see if I can find. Oh, sorry. Okay, Dr. John Peacock, a cosmologist at the University of Edinburgh. Okay, so I don't read the whole article, but okay, so other panelists, including Dr. Alex Vilenkin, a physicist from Tufts University, suggested that the anthropic reasoning was a logical attempt to apply probabilities to cosmology, using all the data, including the fact of our own existence. Dr. John Peacock, a cosmologist at the University of Edinburgh, argued that the anthropic principle was not a retreat from physics, but an advance. The existence of an ensemble of universes with different properties, he explained, implies a mechanism to produce variation, a kind of genetic code, the way that evolution implies the existence of genes. You gain new physics, Dr. Peacock said. But when his own turn came, Dr. Gross questioned whether the rules of the anthropic game were precise enough. What were the parameters that could vary from universe to universe? How many could vary at once? What was the probability distribution of the values? And what was necessary for life? Anthropic calculations are inherently vague and imprecise, he said. As a result, the principle could not be disproved. but he was only getting warm up. His real objection, he said, was totally emotional. Ascribing the parameters of physics to mere charts or vagaries of cosmic weather is defeatist, discouraging people from undertaking the difficult calculations that would actually explain why things are the way they are. Moreover, it is also dangerous, he declared to ringing applause. It smells of religion and intelligent design, he said. Referring to a variety of creationism, he argues that the universe is too complex to have evolved by chance. Okay, so yeah, all right. So he has actually. All right, I'll give him credit. He has actually. It looks like he's quoted us in some sort of context now. Just trying to. So let me just. So one thing I'm just reading from here is okay. So this is one scientist at one convention, saying one sentence. Yeah, so I'm just trying to. So I'm just hosting a show, reading and thinking all at the same time. Really does tax the brain. Okay, so his
Yes.
so it looks like his argument against. Okay, so let's just. Okay, so it looks like his argument against. So his argument isn't against the anthropic principle. His argument is against people being defeated, or who are too lazy, or how can I say, people who are afraid to undertake the calculations required, because it's got here, when his own turn came, he questioned whether the rules of the anthropic game were precise enough. And that's one of my issues against the design argument is that it's just like I can't explain it, therefore God. That's one of the yes, hello. All right, sorry about that. Just had to quickly help the son with his homework.
I'm not helping. I just needed to listen to it
Oh,
without
okay.
distracting you.
Sorry. Okay. Your half hour is up, by the way. So do something fun, yeah? No more homework.
1 minute.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so, yeah, this is one thing I've noticed from Turek and Geisler, is that one quote from one atheist at one particular time is enough to, completely speak for every atheist on every position. Yeah. Every atheist on every position, on every topic. That's it's a very. So I'm just going to take a couple more minutes. Sorry, I'm just going to take a couple more minutes to read through this article, because I want to make sure I'm reading it right. Okay, so just continuing to read this article. Oh, that's a good slap. Do it again. Okay, that's probably going to hurt the... So, Dr. Lawrence Krauss, the astrophysicist from Case Western who had organised the conference and recruited the panel, characterised the anthropic principle as a way of killing time when physicists didn't have a better idea. Dr. Krauss, who has battled creationists over biology instruction in the public schools in Ohio, said he had encountered anthropic arguments as an argument for fine-tuning, the idea that God had fixed the universe just for us. Dr. Weinberg replied that the anthropic principle was not really part of science, but rather a guess about the future shape of science. If we didn't have things in our universe that seem peculiar, like the value of the cosmological constant, we wouldn't worry about it. Sorry. Dr. Weinberg compared the situation to a person who was dealt a royal flush in a poker tournament. It may be chance, he said, but there is another explanation. Namely, is the organizer of the tournament our friend? But that leads to the argument about religion, he said to much laughter. In fact, Dr. Weinberg said, the anthropic principle was a nice, non-theistic explanation of why things are the way they are. But then the audience was squirming to get in on the action. Hands were waving as Dr. Gross called the session to an end. Clearly there is a diversity of opinion, he intoned. Some people find the small value of cosmological constant so bizarre that only the anthropic principle will pick it out. Yeah, okay, so... Yeah, okay, that's... Yeah, interesting. Not going to read too much into it, but it's like, to me, it's one guy at one conference, almost 20 years ago. What am I going to do? Worry about things that... Well, anyway, I might actually finish the reading here because we've just reached the end of chapter 4. Oh, and we've now reached chapter 5, the first life, natural law or divine awe. So anyway, I'm gonna end the show in the reading here. So my name's Damien, the tall friendly atheist dad. Wherever you are, look after yourselves, stay safe, be kind, be rational, and goodbye.
I am sure of my